Hey kittens, it's Megan, and I may or may not have a girl crush on Michelle Gomez. While I've been doing my bullet journal, I have been binging on The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and seriously, this show is amazing. Go watch it. I highly recommend it. Getting into the meat and potatoes of my video here, I am doing my November bullet journal setup, and it's really a simple theme here. I just was inspired by the banned books, kind of blackout poetry thing, and I really just wanted to go simple because it's Nanowrimo, and I don't really want to spend a lot of time decorating my bullet journal. I really want it to just be mostly functional. For my cover page, I really just wanted to focus on buzzwords for November. Of course, at the top I did put the word November, but everything else is related directly to my novel and, getting pumped and ready for NaNoWriMo. I've been through most of the steps and I'm just about ready to start working on step 9 of the snowflake method, which is creating a plan for each of your scenes. And having a list of scenes that you really want to write can definitely take you through to the finish line, but making a plan for each scene will help every scene you write have an impact. One of the things that Randy outlines is the need of two things, a story crucible and a scene crucible. And he goes into a lot of detail in this in his second book, How to Write a Dynamic Scene Using the Snowflake Method. So, what is a crucible? It's the thing that's keeping your character from getting what they desperately want or need. It must be broken in order for your characters to move on. So, your story crucible is pretty much the bulk of your book. For example, Katniss Everdeen wants to live, but 23 people want to kill her. Harry Potter wants to learn to be a wizard. There's a dark wizard out to kill him. And Claire Randall wants to go home, but she can't tell anyone that she's from the future. You see where I'm going here? Your scene crucible is the thing that's going to make your scenes amazing. Every scene has to have one, and if it doesn't, your scene is broken and needs to either be fixed or trashed. That may sound harsh, but it's true. Without a scene crucible, your scene is pointless. It doesn't move the story forward, and it's a waste of your time and your reader's time. There are two kinds of scenes that you can write: a proactive scene, where your character takes action, or a reactive scene, where your character reacts to a proactive scene. So the proactive scene has 3 parts. It starts with a goal, something to drive your characters forward and give the reader something to root for. That's when you add the conflict. You have to keep the character from getting their goal by throwing obstacles and keeping everybody, you and the reader, invested. And the result of this is either a setback, which is the usual outcome, or a victory, an occasional outcome. Both victories and lessons have huge emotional impacts on your readers, and that is what you want to play on to keep them engaged. Proactive scenes are wonderful, but in order for them to really work, sometimes you have to have a reactive scene that shows the consequences of the proactive scene. The reaction is usually an emotional one. This is followed closely by the dilemma. There isn't going to really be a good option for your character, but they're going to have to choose one anyway. And that really is the decision, the third part of it. This takes your characters to the next proactive scene and moves your story forward. You don't have to alternate between the two because there are some cases where your character has an immediate goal right after a proactive scene and jumps right in. But then there are others where your character must react to what happened and regroup. You'll know what to do when you get there. Randy's second book about writing dynamic scenes goes into a lot more detail into the process. I really just scratched the surface, but I wanted to kind of go over that because it's such an interesting way to set up your novel and your plan for your novel. Next up, I have my monthly calendar, which is kind of something that I do standard at this point. I really like the normal calendar layout, and I focused on doing a old-timey typewriter font where the letters kind of bleed a little bit. The metal bits might have been nicked a little bit, so it's not uniform anymore, and the ink bleeds a little together, so it's very dynamic visual for me, very much reminiscent of reading a really old novel. Writing in typewriter font is a really more time consuming than you'd think, and I might have messed up once or twice while doing this, but that's what a white gel pen is for. For little details, it's really, you don't really see it, and I highly recommend using one rather than whiteout, especially on a Loic term because the paper's kind of yellow, so little tiny things you don't really notice at the white gel pen. I did the floating boxes just because I like how they look, and again, I might have messed up, but I'll go back over that later with the white gel pen. After I was finished with my calendar, I went in and did my habit tracker, which is more of a daily to-do list / reminder to kind of take care of myself and the things that need to be taken care of. So I am focusing more this month on self-care with meditation, filming, writing, self-care, just little things like that. I did my expense tracker, which I only list my bills, my YouTube and Instagram trackers, which I kind of just list my goals for those, my plans, kind of brainstorm in those boxes if need be. And this setup has been really good for me. I really like how it looks, and I had a lot of fun with this one. Okay, so this was probably the most time-consuming part because it was all in that typewriter font, but this is my back of the book blurb for my Nanowrimo novel, which I am revealing now. The title is Seafarer, and it's all about a mermaid and a pirate and a thief and a siren, and pretty much all hell breaks loose, and I really am excited where this one's gonna go. And it took me a while to write everything just because, all the little tiny lines, having to focus on keeping everything uniform, and it was really difficult, and my wrist hurt a couple of times, but I persevered. Next up, we have my word count tracker, which is just kind of where I'm going to keep track of my daily totals, where I'm at. I did already list here the days of the month, as well as what the goal is to reach that 50,000 at the end of the month. And I will be filling in the right side of the page every day during November, kind of keeping up on my word count. So one of the things that makes November and Nanowrimo so fun is sprint logging. And no, I'm not a runner. I feel like I'm dying whenever I run. So sprint logging is where you do mini writing challenges. You set aside like 10-15 minutes, you write as much as you can, and you kind of challenge yourself to beat your score or beat those around you at your write-ins. And I did 4 columns of sprint logs just because I plan on doing a crap ton of them next month. Finally, we have my first weekly spread of the month. This is just kind of bland and standard. I really like how this is laid out. I really enjoy the vertical layouts just because I'm a to-do list girl. I like making them and crossing things off. And so I've got my whole week. Saturday and Sunday are kind of smaller, but pretty much all I'm going to be doing on those days is write-ins anyway. So I'll get all of my adulting tasks done during the week. And then, yeah, I've got my write-ins, my to-do list, and notes. So that's it. Flipping through real quick, and that's my setup for the month. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any questions or comments or anything of the sort, put them down below. I really want to hear from you guys. If you're doing NaNoWriMo, leave your handle so I can buddy you on the NaNoWriMo website. And I look forward to seeing you guys in next week's video. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to subscribe. And I will be posting weekly going forward. So have a wonderful day.